our main entree, the Trump. This is going to be the greatest segment that's ever existed, Tim, ever in the history of life. It's going to be the greatest right now. Listen to this. This is number one. I can't do that the whole time. Trump vows to undo the Biden gun restrictions if reelected. There's so much to break down right
does
here,
he
Tim.
now?
He does. He does. He did. He said it on stage, so you know it's true.
Now, yeah, I just got to warn people right now. I was a party to the lawsuit suing the Trump administration for their actions on bump stocks, right? So I'm a little salty when it comes to Trump and gun stuff because he is not our friend. And then when I point this out, of course, all the Trump cultists fall into line and say, oh, what are you, a Democrat? No, I don't worship any politician. I'm just telling you that Trump says one thing and will do other things, just like so many other politicians. But anyway. Okay, let's get into this.
But not to jade the segment at all.
I know, man, but every time I see Trump at the NRA convention, Trump says this about gun control. I remember the Trump that banned bump stocks through executive fiat, which was then used, as I said it would be, to reuse that recipe for braces and everything else, which is exactly what happened. And this is the same clown that sat in his cabinet meeting and said, take the guns now, due process later. But let's go ahead. Come on. Trump vows to undo the Biden restrictions.
But to be fair, he did. Yeah, he did. But I'm glad you're not salty.
No, I hold no grudges. Yeah. You know, I'm sure he's 100% sincere when he says all these things. Okay,
absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm thinking. But to be fair, though, and I've got to say this as the balance here. I'll be the sweet, you can be the salty right now. He did bring us the Supreme Court judges.
He absolutely did,
which brought us the Bruen decision. I'm going to be honest.
I'm in no way saying I'm going to vote for Biden or whoever replaces him. I am not. Okay? I'll just tell you that right now.
Nice caveat.
What I am not going to do is pretend like Trump hasn't done the things Trump has done. I refuse to do that.
That's fair. I think it's fair and objective that we call out everything. I think that is fair both ways. Let's get it. Number 2, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This is on the 9th, Tim, February 9th. Former President Donald Trump, the Republican frontrunner in the 2024 presidential race, said on Friday he had firmly protected gun rights while in the White House and vowed, if reelected, to undo all restrictions enacted by President Joe Biden. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Specifically, he went into rescinding a rule curbing the sales of gun accessories known as pistol braces and other regulations put in place by the Biden administration. Of course, talking about gun frames and receivers, the ghost gun rule, pistol braces. So he says he's going to get rid of those. But again, that elephant in the room,
he caused all that.
He kind of did do it.
Yeah.
He kind of
had a hand in all that.
Were a thing. It was a little bit bad.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say it right now, Tim. I'm not going to line up and bash Trump. I'm not going to line up and completely go behind what he's done in the past. Objectively, this is my honest to God opinion. Mm-hmm. You have someone who has surrounded himself with XYZ people. I think that he does not know as much about the 2A as he proposes that he does. And he made some bad decisions. And then he also made some good decisions from a standpoint of the SCOTUS judges, but then also from an example of the executive bureaucratic. Not good.
Truly his justice appointments. Those alone validated his 2016 the 2020 presidency because of those appointments, we have the Bruen decision, and things like that. So no, I'm not saying that, this isn't about Trump bashing. This is about being honest about the man we're talking about here. Now, with what's just been said in this particular piece that you just read off, I don't doubt, because Trump is a very vindictive, angry person. If you don't believe me, follow him you can't follow him on Twitter anymore, but jump on over to his own little platform there, whatever it's called, Truth Social.
Truth.
But he would more than likely undo these things if he can, just to spite the Democrats. So I do think he might do it for that reason, right? I don't think he'd do it because he loves the 2A, but he might very well do it because he just wants to stick his thumb in their eye, and I'll take that.
So I was about to ask that. So the way we win here, Tim, I think you're onto something. God, you are a political maven, is what you are. So your thought here is you don't believe that that's where his mindset is for the pro 2A because he believes in the 2A. You think it's, well, Biden touched it, so I'm going to destroy it. I didn't like this house anyway. We're going to rebuild it. This will no longer be the White House. It is now the Gold House.
Yep.
because Biden touched it.
Yep. And see,
but at the end of the day, did we win though?
But you don't know. But there's another thing going for him. So if he were to win this next election, he can't run again. So when you're put into that position, many times politicians will do things they wouldn't do in their first term, right? Because they're trying to play both sides or riding that fence because they want to keep as many votes as they can for that next term. Well, when you don't have a next term, you can just do whatever you want. And maybe that plays to our favor. It's so hard to predict, right? It truly is.
It is. Yeah, you can't predict it. I think objectively, here's what I think our role here is. I think we have to say what's happened in the past, give credit where credit's due, give criticism where criticism is due, and then look at what they're saying and let the people decide. But here's an example of some pretty extreme rhetoric, which if this were to happen, I'd be really down.
Right.
So this is number 3. Listen to this one. Quote, every single Biden attack on gun owners and manufacturers will be terminated my very first week back in office. Perhaps my first day, Trump said in a speech at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I cannot tell you how much I wanted to read that like Trump, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I would 100% back that. But what's so funny is he says in the first week and then perhaps my first day. And what's he getting beaten up on right now in the media for another stupid thing he said? His first day in office, he's going to become a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. It's a joke, people. He is not. It's like, but that's just it. Trump has no filter, and so he says these things. I mean, you and I get the fact that he's just cracking a joke, but then the left runs with it. See, he says you gotta believe him when he says he's going to be a dictator. He said for a day. It doesn't matter. He really wants to be. It's just like wow. But yeah, I would take that.
It's like the Purge. Yeah, I would take that too.
Because
right? I mean, like
remember his first 2016 election when he came into dude. He hadn't even been sworn in yet, and he was out there. And this is really this kind of impressed me, right? He wasn't even sworn in yet, and he was already meeting with business people to bring manufacturing back from overseas back to
that was really cool.
Yeah, I was like okay, wow, I've never seen a presidential, he was the president-elect, do something like that. Most of the time you wait until you get into office before you start trying to negotiate deals. This man jumped right in. So, I mean, he may very well do this, So it's interesting to see. Yeah. And again, I think what might save us on this one is just the fact he hates the Biden administration so much and the people behind it that he may actually do this for us just to stick his thumb in their eye. It'd be glorious.
I like that. I can see it now. I'm gonna put my best Trump on for this. Okay, you ready? Yep. You ready? Here we go. I'm going to do it on the first week. Who knows? Maybe even the first day. Turns out you never know. It'll be a busy day, but I might squeeze it in before lunch. In that gun violence office prevention, that's terrible. Kamala touched it. That's probably got something bad from that, so we're just going to do away with that. Oh, my goodness. The ghost guns. Who doesn't love Casper? Anyway, let's get this.
But I got to say one thing real quick. The problem with this is every time we get a new president, is this what we're going to have to go through? Like, one president just like runs out there like Biden and just uses his executive fiat and just wrecks everything. The next president comes in, undoes it all. 4 years later, the next president comes in and does it all again 4 years later. I mean, this pendulum swinging radically right and left is driving us all nuts, is it not? I mean,
it is. It absolutely is. It's getting whiplash. Yeah. It is. I'm going to 6 billion undo executive orders. 4 years later, this is terrible. He touched it. Trash that.
For 4 years you have rights, and 4 years you don't. 4 years you do. 4 years you don't. You're like, geez,
exactly. It's whiplash. Yeah. But let's go into 4 because we got it. We have to do it, Tim. Okay. We do have to do it. God, I love covering Trump. This is so much fun. So this is number 4. This is kind of the this one's a little odd. Different world right here. Seeing conservative gun owners as critical to his re-election chances, Trump has continued to court them aggressively. He told the crowd on Friday that if he is re-elected, quote, no one will lay a finger on your firearms, and bragged about resisting pressure to implement gun restrictions during his term in the White House. During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure on me having to do with guns. We did nothing. We didn't yield.
No, right.
Yeah, I mean, a little. I mean, just a smidgen.
No, I mean, it's, but I mean, so maybe he's not thinking a bump stock is a gun thing, right?
It's got to be. Well, I think that was the original problem, right? They were like, well, it's not even a gun. And the NRA said it wasn't, so it's okay.
That's the key. The NRA came out immediately and said that they believe in their little joint statement that bump stocks were machine guns and should be treated as such. The NRA did not support, illegal machine guns or machine guns. Marion Hammer came out and said the NRA never supported your right to own a machine gun. So I do think the NRA said, no, go ahead, go for that. We'll back you on that one. And so maybe that's how we got there. But it still doesn't fix the,
I think that's
the
what
whole
happened.
red flag thing, take the guns now, due process later. He never acted on it, but he said stupid on camera. And
but that was not cute. That was absolutely not cute. In fact, the second segment we're about to go into has a part of that same conference. So let me wrap this up with number 7. This part I think is interesting because I want you to focus on what they say here and then give me your immediate gut reaction. This is number 7, Doctor. In a statement released ahead of Trump's speech, John Feinblatt, president of Everytown for Gun Safety, said, quote, with Trump recently telling Americans to get over school shootings, we know what a second term would be like. The NRA would once again treat the White House like its clubhouse, and the bipartisan, life-saving progress we've made on gun safety will be in grave danger. Did that kind of slip a little bit and come out a little bit more like, oh no, all my toys? Or did that kind of off message there, John? What do you think?
It's John's an idiot. I don't.
Analysis.
Right. I can't take this guy seriously, and I can't take the organization seriously. And with him talking about, it's always about the children and school shootings and all this other stuff. But if you distill this down, because what these people are always going after is like, we just want, Kamala Harris says this, Biden says this, they all say this. We just want reasonable restrictions, like taking away anything that loads itself. Zombie knives. Oh wait, that's UK, but we'll get there.
That's UK. Yeah.
They are so disingenuous and they lie so much that all they can talk about is like, well, we're going to play to your emotions. It's if we get Trump back in there, it's the children that are going to pay the price with AR-15s that account for maybe less than 100 misuses a year in crime. But it doesn't matter. We got to do something. And it's just all this frantic hand waving and nonsense. And when I read this crud, it's just like, okay, sure, whatever. Oh, the life-saving progress we made with the most comprehensive gun control that's ever been done in 30 years, but we're not done yet. We still need more. It hasn't really done anything.
It's not.
I think it stopped 200 gun purchases. Maybe that's what we claimed last week. But hey, we've done these great things, but we're not done yet. And that's where this always goes. Like, we'll get this law passed, but hey, guys, look, you're still misbehaving. So now we got another one. Now we got another one. Now we got another one. John can
100%.
Get a pickle. Anyway, moving along.
Oh,
I brought a whole jar. I brought a whole jar of pickles. Oh. You can have a pickle.
You hate to see it, man. It sneaks up on you. It's nothing worse.
And I don't like the sweet pickle. I'm giving him the most bitter sour pickle I can find, Vlasic or whatever it is. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Did you say Flaccid?
Vlasic. Isn't that like? It's like an old pickle brand.
That was a Freudian slip.
Think there's like a stork.
No, I know.
They're supposed to be super crunchy. Anyway. Stop.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just okay. Sorry. All right. You're right.
Dirty mind.
You're right.
Gutter off the rumble strip, straight into the gutter.
You're right.
And you know what you're going to find in the gutter? Kamala Harris. Never mind. Okay, sorry.
Oh, low blow.